2026 World Cup is officially done. We've got all 48 teams. Dude, it was exciting. Intercontinental playoffs. Listen, man, I didn't think I would ever stay up in my life until 1 a.m. watching Iraq versus Bolivia to see who gets into the World Cup's final spot. But, dude, it was electrifying. It was incredible. Obviously, shout out to Iraq and shout out DR Congo being able to finish out the field. For the rest of the teams, try again in 4 years. It sucks, man. But, Julian, what were you able to learn from these?
I learned a lot from pretty much every team. Honestly, I kind of came away with like good thoughts for each one. I mean, if we want to kick it off, game one, we'll do Bolivia versus Suriname. How's that sound?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
All right. I'm pretty much going to kind of wrap my thoughts more so from a Suriname perspective. To me, this is Suriname once again not being able to finish in big games. This is a team that we say is going to compete. They're going to be the next big thing, but they've consistently, when it came up to like trying to punch above their weight class, they've consistently failed every single time. There has not been an instance where they have actually won a game against a big opponent. They may have gotten a draw here or there against Panama recently, but I mean, that's the most you can really say from them. This is a lineup that's filled with talent, but they can't put it together in a full 90. They have moments of greatness, or not greatness, but they have moments where they look good. But then there's like another 30, 45 minutes where they fall flat and they can't do anything. So right now it's like they're only beating teams that are like a level below them. So to me, I can't pick them going forward in any matchup against a team that is going to be equal or greater level than them, like until they can prove to me otherwise that they can. One of the big things that came out of this game, obviously, right before this window, they recruited Perot from Leeds United, and I'm gonna flat out say it: this was an absolute disgusting, despicable move. Like it was, like that's you want 101 on how to lose a locker room. That's how you do it. That's how you lose a locker room. To decide to start a guy who hasn't even been playing for his team. I think he has something. I don't know the exact number of minutes, but he's been riding the bench for Leeds pretty much the entire season outside of playing like 10 minutes here and there. It's like you're completely relying on a guy based on where he plays. And like, how is this any different than the Gio Reyna situation? The only difference is Gio Reyna actually had experience with the U.S. men's national team and has actually played well in these games. And to me, to just pass on a Geraldo Becker who's playing in Mines, or pass on a Margaret who got you there, who literally scored goals in big games in qualifying. I think he scored 3 goals in qualifying. A guy who got you there, and then you bench him for a dude that you know nothing about. Quite literally, you know nothing about. So I'm just going to flat out say that, like, that is just so discouraging for anybody or any kids who have like aspirations of playing for Suriname. Like, to me, that was just an absolute despicable, disgusting move, and I'd be pissed. I wouldn't even accept a call up after that. Like, quite honestly, like that is so beyond messed up. Um, but like,
Wow.
I'm like, think about it. Like that is so like that defeats the integrity of everything, like of qualifying. The fact that you can call a guy up who's never represented the country right before the window and commit him over a guy who's been there the entire time. Two guys that have been there for years now. Like that's crazy to me. Like that's just beyond crazy. But anyways, I mean, overall, I think this team is on fraud watch. I mean, they've beaten pretty much El Salvador and PR recently, and that's it. That's it. And they beat El Salvador in the last round of qualifying. In the round before that, they drew El Salvador in that final game, so they didn't even beat them. So really, they've just beaten El Salvador and PR in a 1-0 game, in a tight 1-0 game at home. So it's like we haven't, like, to me, it's like you can't buy into it until they actually win something. As from the Bolivia side of it, I thought Bolivia, they played well, man. I thought, Bolivia reminds me of, and this kind of goes for both games. They remind me a lot of Guatemala, a team with not a ton of talent. They don't have like flashy stars all over the place, but together as a unit, they tend to play so technical and play like just a really like beautiful style of football where they really work together and just have like just nail down like the fundamentals of the game. Like I said, they remind me a lot of Guatemala in that sense, where, and quite honestly, Guatemala beat the brakes off Suriname last. in the last game of qualifying. So, and they pretty much faced a team that has the same identity and style of play as them. So, as the game played out, I was starting to lean more towards Bolivia, and eventually Bolivia ended up taking away the lead. And you missed an open shot. I forgot who it was, right in front of net. That was pretty bad. You got to put away those
That
chances. And this has
that
been.
was it was your boy. It was your boy Perot.
Oh yeah.
He
Oh
missed a
no,
wide
how
open
fitting.
shot.
Yeah, that's right. It
It was
was
your
him.
boy.
That's right. So yeah, that's what happens when you don't get minutes. So yeah, you're rusty.
Yeah,
But yeah, I'll let you take it away.
this game kind of reminded me of a toxic ex that you go back and forth with. You're one moment you're with her, another moment you're not, but your friends are on the sideline. Your homeboys, your hometown guys. The boys you grew up with all your life, your locker room boys. They're standing next to you, and they know what's going to happen. They can see it coming miles away. Hey man, that girl's going to cheat on you. Hey man, that girl's going to stab you in the back. It was kind of the same thing here. Suriname got that early goal. Shout out to him. It was a discombobulated goal. It was all over the field, but they got it. They took the lead. And like I said, they were kind of like that hopeless boyfriend that just kind of went along with what their crazy ex said. Like, yeah, yeah, you won't do that to me. You won't hurt me. That's fine. I'm not scared. And Suriname just completely took the brakes off. Kind of like you alluded to earlier, Julian. This is a team that's shown in the past they can't hold on to leads because they piss their pants and they run around like little kids. I mean, they're scared to death. They are absolutely scared. When you press on Suriname, they get scared. It's the truth. We've seen it against Panama, against Guatemala. I mean, hell, even against Puerto Rico. And that's saying a lot. So the thing is, this is a team that Bolivia just kept pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing. And then eventually Miguelito finds himself in a good spot. It was a fluky first goal, but Paniagua puts it away. Great shot. And then that second goal, I mean, the penalty is just clear as day. Abena's not even looking at anybody, and he's just going in there to kick some chops, dude. And he takes somebody out. So the thing is, like, it was like I said, I used that analogy to make it was obvious that Bolivia were going to push back and they were going to come back. And they did. And absolute all props to them. Like you said, this is a team that they don't have a lot of flashy guys. They're not running, sprints all over the field, but they're a collective unit. They're a unit of a team, and they're good. They're not bad. I
It's a
mean, they're
complete
playing
opposite.
Comde Bowl. Yeah, like very, very strong. And Suriname they just look baffled, that Bolivia almost came back at them. So I will say bad, poor game management on Suriname's part and good game management on Bolivia's part. They never went down. Even though they went down a goal, you could tell the players just got motivated even more to keep attacking, keep pushing, pressing. So good on that aspect. Now I will say Bolivia versus Iraq. I'm curious to hear in a second what you have to say about it, Julian. I will say, like I said, I never thought I would catch myself on a Tuesday night at
Watching that.
midnight watching a Bolivia Iraq qualify to the World Cup, but it was fun. I have to say, dude, listen, another side note, shout out the fans, brother. Shout out the freaking fans, dude. I mean,
Man,
I'm
they
talking about
traveled.
Iraqis. Dude, they in the middle of
Because
a war. In the middle of a war. Like, I'm impressed. I genuinely was. Now,
to
to be
Mexico.
fair, to Mexico, a lot of those Iraqis were already based here within the States and Canada and things like that.
Travel down.
So they're already coming from, they're already coming from the western side of the continent. But there were a lot of guys. Like, I literally saw a
But the
street interview.
Bolivians for real showed up, which I did not
The
expect.
Bolivians showed up. Iraqis showed up. We'll obviously get to them in a second. But the Congolese showed up. Like, I mean, dude, I was genuinely kind of blown by that because I didn't really think. I thought only Bolivians would probably show up to these. But
I mean, I
respect
thought
to
the same
them,
thing.
I just didn't see it. But like I said, that's a side topic. But yeah, big shout out to them. But yeah, dude, I will say though, within this game, Iraq, you could tell their game plan was obviously take that early goal. And unlike Suriname, Iraq knew how to manage the game. They knew how to defensively hold back. They were able to withstand. They were able to hold it in. Listen, dude, I'm not going to sit here and lie that I'm this Iraqi scholar, and I know all about the team. But I'm a big Ayman Hussein. I know, yeah, shocker. But I'm a big Ayman Hussein guy. Listen, I've been watching him ever since back in the Asian Cup, and this guy's the real deal, man. I mean, he is probably one of the best nines in all of Asian football. He is that guy. He really is. He's a difference maker. You're able to tell Bolivia just one lapse moment where they kind of laid back, kind of didn't think about it, and Iraq pushed ahead. So incredible game for them. Shout out them. I'll be real, dude. I'm not going to harpoon too much on the Bolivians because this was also a World Cup qualifier. Um, and they didn't play that bad. They really didn't play poor. They gave it their all. Obviously, Nava, Vaca, dude, that guy's scary good. Obviously, Miguelito as well. There's a lot of talent on this team. Young dude. So it's unfortunate for Bolivia, but I will say though they should hold their heads up high and dude, they have a lot to play for now. These next upcoming 4 years are going to be huge for them. Obviously, with the Copa America in between. So yeah, I think the Bolivians have a lot to learn from this, but they also have a lot to be proud of because they really made their country, and I think they made a lot of people proud.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with you. I think Iraq did what they set out to do. We all knew what they were going to do, and they did it. And quite honestly, they kind of nailed it. They did it perfectly. They were very defensively solid. They out physicaled them on set pieces, and they were able to score. Like and then once they scored, they pretty much say, "Hey, Bolivia, take the ball. You're not going to break us down. Like you guys don't have the talent to break us down," and they didn't. And I thought, while Bolivia showed a ton of heart, I mean, they left it all out on the field. They just kind of what's been hurting Bolivia for a long while. They just don't. While they played really good as a unit, they just don't have enough to send them over the edge. I think uh, right now maybe the Terceros guy who plays as Santos can develop into something for them. But right now, I think they just don't have enough quality to kind of break down a team like Iraq. And Iraq, they've been proven that they can be Look, it's hard to break down a defense. It's easy to sit back, and once Iraq got those goals that they needed, it's like good luck Bolivia, and it was tough. And you know what? They made it really close. They made it really close, but it's they like I said, they left it on the field. It was a really good game, but I think ultimately Iraq was able to execute their game plan to perfection, pretty much. So we can move on to the next side of the bracket if you're ready.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
All
Let's
right,
do it.
let's start with the first one. I don't really have much to say, but I'm gonna flat out say it. Jamaica versus New Caledonia. First game was an embarrassment. Like, I'm sorry, like that. Like, I'm sure even Jamaicans, you cannot argue with me. Like the idea that you guys just won 1-0 against a New Caledonia filled with amateur players, semi-pro players, like with when you guys have Premier League players or players that play in some of the best leagues in Europe, 1-0 is unacceptable. Like it's just as bad as Boca Juniors. What was it, 1-1 or 1-0 to like the New Zealand team? Like
Yeah,
to me, like it was
yeah.
just an embarrassment. And that like to me, this is a World Cup qualifying game. I don't care who you're playing against. Put out your full strength lineup, beat them quick, beat them early, get out. Like, why are you going to even risk it with backups? And they're the ones that scored. When you subbed in your your starters, they couldn't even score. So it's like to me, it's like I don't like the strategy. Like, put your best guys in there, defeat them quick, defeat them early, don't give them a hope, and get out of there. Go up 4-0 at first half and be done with it because the New Caledonia is not scoring 4 on you guys. Like they're just not. So the idea that they even went that route, I thought was just a terrible coaching mistake. I don't know what else you have to say about this game, but we can move on to the next one if you don't.
Not too much. Shout out New Caledonia. You could tell them boys were having fun, man. They were living
Yeah.
in the moment, wearing cowboy hats, man. That was awesome to see. Yeah, like you said, my thing is, dude, Julie, even with the B team, Jamaicans, let us know down in the comments how you guys feel. But even your B or C team should beating these guys. I mean, 3-0, 4 to it
Yeah.
shouldn't be that hard. I like you said,
They should be
the
able to pull out
players
a whole JPL like lineup and still win.
and still, yeah, realistically, I
Put
mean,
out the
the thing is,
Cavaliers and they still should be able to win. Like
yeah, it's just unfortunately New Caledonia obviously does not have that talented of a team, and you can really tell the gaps were there. Even within the game, Jamaica just seemed like they were in another gear, and I'm not talking about a faster gear. I'm talking about a slower gear. Not like turning your car into sports mode. They turned their car into like
eco mode.
boat mode, eco mode. I mean, dude, like you know, instead of trying to turn your Crocs into sports mode, they turned
No,
their
they
Crocs into
they
like
they
walk
just turned
mode.
on the
Like,
parking brake.
yeah, I mean, dude, they went into grandma like mode, and just kind of were just vibing.
They
Like you
walked that
said,
day.
yeah, I don't know. It was disappointing. Obviously, we'll get to this Congo game. I think Jamaica was able to kind of redeem themselves a little bit there. But still, I will say, kind of going into it, and it was similar from even the first game to the second game. Jamaicans, like I said, let us know how you're feeling down in the comments. I just feel like, dude, this game, the vibes that I got in this Congo game, Julian, were very much similar to the Guatemala game in the 2025 gold last summer. Jamaica's trying. You can tell that they're trying to get up ahead, and they're trying to throw the kitchen sink, and there's players, but it's just not enough, and they're not gelling. They're not connecting. Nobody's like, it just doesn't seem like there was enough. Leon Bailey, dude, what a fall from grace. I mean, I'm literally texting one of my boys, a good friend of mine from college, during the game, and he's literally telling me, he's like, dude, I hate Leon Bailey. I can't stand, and I don't blame him. The guy, is supposed to be a vocal leader on the team. He's supposed to be the captain. He's supposed to be all these X, Y, and Z, the best player, to ever come out. He just seems so lackadaisical. He just seemed like he couldn't click with anybody. And then, I mean, even like a Bobby Cordova Reed, you can tell. I mean, his age is obviously starting to get with him a little bit. And I'm not going to put much blame on Bailey Katamateri, the nine that started that game. I think he gave his best foot. I will say, unfortunately, he just doesn't have a lot of help, and he really wasn't able to create a lot. I will say Jamaica did make a second half sub. Mason Clark, I believe his name. I can't remember. I think he was a big difference maker. I think he was able to spook the Congolese defense a little bit more. He's able to create chances, but it was still the same thing that we've been saying over and over, dude. Is Jamaica's just not able to get over that line? It seems like, and I will say, I was rooting for my reggae boys. I really was. I'm not going to take away from the Congolese
I was
or
rooting for
anything
them
like that
too.
in this game. I really was, man. I got a lot of good friends in there. I love Jamaica. I love, obviously, I'm rooting for CONCACAF ball. So it sucks to see it, unfortunately. But dude, Julian, it's the same thing. We could kind of see this coming from miles ahead. Congo had a better team. They have a better team on paper. They had a more stacked midfield. They had guys up front that were going to be able to hurt you. Shout out Andre Blake, man. Listen, I don't know how much this guy gets paid, but he needs to get paid more in Jamaica.
Oh man, that
Somebody,
one
dude,
shot, that one, you know what I'm talking about. Gosh,
the right hand, yeah.
that thing was a thing of
Woo.
beauty. Oh my
it,
gosh.
it, it had some heat. It had some heat on it, but dude, Andre Blake did his thing, man. So kind of like we were talking, we were chopping it up a little bit in other videos, dude, about Panama and Cuti Mosquera. It's the same thing with Andre Blake, man. He's huge, man, for this team. I think you really can't describe how big of a player he is for them because, unfortunately, obviously, he's not the one scoring goals, but he is huge, man. He's stopping a lot of these goals because it could have been worse. It could have been 3-0. It could have been 2-0. But yeah, I mean, congrats to Congo. They're going to be making the World Cup. So yeah, and shout out their fans as well, man. Big shout out to them.
Yeah, I don't know if I fully agree with you in a lot of this. I'll actually give Jamaica a little bit of grace. I thought this was one of the better performances I've seen from them in a while. Quite honestly, like I thought, considering the opponent that they had to go against and what I expected from them and what we saw from them in qualifying, I was actually a little bit more impressed, to be honest with you, specifically in the defensive side as well as the midfield. In the defensive midfield, I thought Casey Palmer looked pretty good. I just thought overall the midfield did a really good job of kind of shutting down a lot of what DR Congo was trying to do. Obviously, Jamaica just doesn't have that attacking midfielder, that guy who can like be the puppeteer and pull the strings. But I thought defensively in the midfield, they looked really solid, and I liked what I saw from the center backs. I and they were able to maintain possession as well. I mean, I think they had 53% possession. Now, we get to the problem of the attack, which is the one area you would think Jamaica wouldn't have a problem because that's where most of your talent is in the attack. But they had 53% possession, but zero big chances created and one shot on target. Like that, to me, against a DR Congo, a team who's going to put away their chances, ideally they would. This game they didn't so much. I thought they were a little like unclinical in this game, but you can't have that much possession and have zero big chances created. So I thought like the back half of the Jamaican team looked good. I really thought the attack let this team down, quite honestly. And here's kind of like what I've, as I was writing my notes for this video and like what I was thinking about from the Jamaica side is that I think all these players in the attack are good players, but they're all supplementary players. I don't think any of them have that ability. And it doesn't even have to be the ability, but just like the balls to just take the game and run with it and like be that main guy. That's what it almost feels like. It feels like nobody wants to be that guy in the attack. Like it feels like versus like I'm trying to think of a good example. I can't think of one at the top of my head, but let's say like the USA for example, right? Like as much as you have the up and downs of Christian Pulisic, the one thing though that I will give Pulisic credit is that he wants the ball and he's going to try to dictate the game. And I feel like Jamaica lacks that. And I think you expect that out of somebody like a Leon Bailey, the guy who's supposed to be the best player on your team and is supposed to be a vocal leader and all this other stuff. But he's not that guy who's going to like, give me the ball. I'm going to do what I want with it and take control of the game. And you don't even have to be the best player to be that. But you got to be like that guy who dictates the tempo. And I feel like while a Bobby Reed is good and while you had uh the Mark how do you say his name? Kataderi, something like that.
Kata Materi.
Katamateri, yeah. I think he's still young. He's still trying to figure himself out in this team. It just seems like nobody in the attack just wants to take control of the game. Quite, and you need a guy who's just not afraid and just goes after it, whether you make mistakes or not. And that's what I felt like. I mean, like I said, zero big chances, one shot on target. That's just showing to me no one is grabbing the game by the balls and just putting it all out there. Um, Overall, though, I think this team still has striker problems. I don't know if Kata, you had to say it for me again.
Kata Materi.
Kata
Oh
Materi,
yeah.
like I don't know if he's going to be the answer. I don't think anybody's there. Like obviously, Mikel Antonio is up there in age, and he had a really rough injury. I don't think you can really rely on him for the future. It seems like that striker position is kind of wide open, and no one's like really there yet. So, and one thing I will say, because I that did kind of bother me, is I felt like they were really pushing after the game, especially when it went into the extra time. And quite honestly, I did not expect Jamaica to send this game in extra time. And to me, that alone is impressive because I did have Congo straight out winning this game, but Congo was wasn't necessarily a lock to win this game either. Like as the game progressed, like I felt when it got to extra time, like anybody could win this, and it didn't seem like anybody was scoring. Because if I want to talk about the Congo side a little bit, um, I thought they, while they have their very dynamic team and have players all over the field, it seemed like they just had a real problem being lethal. And I went back and looked at some of the results from DR Congo, and this is a team who does not put up goals. For as much talent as they have in the attack, they've consist. I have it. I went back pretty much all the way to 2024, and I don't think they had a game over 2 goals. And most of them, they just scored 1 goal. Like maybe 80% of them, they scored 1 goal. There's not a team that can put it. They're very similar to South Africa in that aspect, where they look really good offensively, but they can't put it away. Obviously, Andre Blake did some great things, but to go to end off on this, that one thing I didn't like what I saw from this Jamaica team is when DR Congo scored, and I don't know if you noticed it too, it felt like they almost gave up. Like it felt like the Jamaican team
Yeah.
just like,
Yeah.
I get like when that goal happens, you're going to deflate a little bit. Like I get that 100%. It's uh, but you got 12 minutes to give it all you got. And if you lose, you know you gave it all you got that last 12 minutes. It felt like when that goal happened, it was just like nothing. And another good indicator of that, because I watched the game live, but then I went back to watch the highlights as well. After that DR Congo goal, highlights end. Like to me, that's proof that they did absolutely nothing after that. If there's not even a single shot on target after a DR Congo goal, like that, you can't do that. Not in a World Cup qualifying, a playing game where all you need is a goal to send it to shootout, and then it's anybody's game. So, yeah,
Yeah. No, I agree, and that's what I'm saying. And say also, Julian, they had 20 plus added time. So
yeah,
they had more than enough time. They had more than enough chances to be able to create and try to scare Congo. But yeah, it gave me such big vibes from that Guatemala game. The difference in that one was obviously Guatemala scored a lot earlier in that game than compared to Congo scoring later, obviously in added time. But it just seems like this Jamaican team, and like you said, rightfully so. I should have shouted him out, um, dude. The Brentford guy, I'm drawing a blank on his name. Pinnock, dude, incredible. Ethan Pinnock was, I mean, dude, he was putting
I'm
in
telling you, the
shifts.
back half
That
of the
guy,
Jamaican squad looks great. I
yeah.
thought they looked really good. It's the best I've seen them in a
Oh
while.
yeah, yeah, big shout out to those guys. I mean, they really were putting up, and they weren't going against some slacks, dude. They're playing against obviously Bakumba, Noah Sadiki from Sunderland, and all these guys running up the field out of. So big shout out to them. But like you said, it's just those woes in the offense. I'm not gonna lie, dude. I'm so shocked that Ronaldo Cephas is not starting this. Listen, I get you want to get Campbell in there. He's a young kid. He's talented. I believe he plays over in Charlton in England. But Ronaldo Cephas was your guy during World Cup qualifiers. This was a guy that was your guy in the Gold Cup, and he was dynamic. I will say in that second half, when you brought him on and a Mason Clark, you started to see things kind of happening. They're beating guys on one-on-ones. They're throwing balls into the box. They're trying to do something. And it just felt like Jamaica didn't have enough of that from the start, or like you said, at the end. And it really, honestly, I'm not going to harpoon and say it's a massive disappointment. Like you said, Jamaicans and a lot of people, I will say, I think we're picking DR Congo to advance. Obviously, like we said earlier, we were rooting for these guys. I love them. Really wanted to see them do good and make that World Cup. But unfortunately, it is what it is. Obviously, like I said, I won't harpoon on it. But yeah, DR Congo in that aspect, they really they played. Oh man, they played some Afcon ball, dude. Got a late
Oh
goal.
yeah.
It was questionable whether it was a handball or not. I don't know. It was kind of a fluky goal as well, but whether or not it was scored. So it was very it was interesting because, like you said, DR Congo had chances even at the end of the game. DR Congo easily could have made it 2-0. They had some sitters that they just so in that aspect, it's going to be interesting. I will say though, for DR Congo, unlike Iraq, I think they have something to aspire in this World Cup. Iraq's obviously in a extremely, extremely tough group. But Congo has a little bit more to say with the Portugal, Uzbekistan, and Colombia. A Colombia team that we kind of saw this past window. They got a lot of holes that they need to look at and try to fix up and things like that. But I think DR Congo, they're going to be curious how they kind of go into this. What I'm curious to see, because this is an exciting team. As much as they cannot maybe score the most, this is still a team that does bring a lot to the World Cup, and they're going to be interesting to watch.
Yeah, and that's pretty much our thoughts on the Intercontinental Playoff. I thought it was an exciting one. It was a fun one. Usually, these Intercontinental Playoffs aren't the most exciting, but this one was really fun. I don't know if it's because of more games or what, but yeah. If you guys want to see more World Cup content as well as Concacaf content, we cover a lot of that as well. So yeah, be sure to leave a like, subscribe if you liked our analysis or whatever. Say we're dumb or whatever it is. Leave a comment. Let us know what you think of these games and matchups. And yeah, we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out, everybody.